Hey, what's up, guys? This is Guy here with KBTrainings. I'm live today, Sunday, November 3rd, 2024. Welcome to this new live. I usually bring you things that I do and things that I learn in my field of cybersecurity. Today, we're going to talk about site-to-site VPN between a FortiGate and a SonicWall. It's a project I worked on this week, and I just want to bring you what I found. It wasn't easy for me to bring this tunnel up, but if you're dealing with the same thing, good news, I got a solution. I cracked the code, so I'm going to tell you what I did and what works for SonicWall. As you can see here, I have a quick topology. This is SD1 deployment. This is Azure V1 actually. So we have two NVAs or network virtual appliances in the Azure Hub. And by the way, I'm going to make videos about V1 deployment with FortiGate. If you're interested, don't forget to like the video and also subscribe to the channel. Just if you want to learn more in general when it comes to cybersecurity, networking, and all that I do here on KBTrainings, because I created a channel to share with you. Thank you guys for being there. So this is the deployment in Azure. We have this VNet here that is internal and sitting behind these two FortiGates. And we also have SD1 deployed, secure SD1 from FortiGate, or sorry, Fortinet deployed. We have two branches. This is not our focus today. So now we have a site or a branch that doesn't use a FortiGate. So it's using SonicWall, and I'm going to show you how you can integrate this site to your current deployment by creating a tunnel from the site to a FortiGate or to both of the FortiGate. You can have failover if one of them goes down and things like that. And you will be able to advertise the internal network of the SonicWall, which is 172.18.1.0/24, to these two hubs here, and then even all the other sites can still reach the SonicWall. So today is just about the part where we focus on the IPsec tunnel, and that's what we're gonna do today. So I already have my FortiGate NVA in the cloud, and this is the actual IP. Of course, it's not wide open. It's secured with my admin access, so you can just go to it and take over my topology. And this is also the public IP of the SonicWall, and we're going to build a tunnel between these two. And like I said, this is in Azure, already deployed, and this is also in Azure. And the good thing about SonicWall is that when you sign up for an account with them, you have up to 30 days of trial. So in my case, I have the NSV, I think that's NSV 270 installed in Azure. That's the one I'm using today for about 10 days now. So I still have 20 days left to play with it. And for the FortiGate, you can deploy any FortiGate VM. If you use the version 7.0.2, you'll be able to deploy as many as you want without a need for test license or something. But if you want to go 7.0.2 or beyond 7.0.2, you need to have a test license. And if you don't have any, you can use at least one test VM in your FortiCloud account. And that's something we've talked about on this channel when I was showing you how I deployed my FortiGate virtual machines. And when it comes to the GUI or the management, this is the access or the management to the SonicWall. As you can see, it's available in the cloud. I have access to it. I kind of had to learn a little bit of SonicWall for this project, but it's been a while since I really used SonicWall in production. I was at Comcast back in 2017, I think. That was the last time I had to play with SonicWall deployment with some of our customers. But today I just deployed this VM for this specific project. And for the FortiGate, it's right here. This is the FortiGate that I have in the cloud. And we're going to add a second IPsec tunnel over here. The tunnel that you see here, this is for SD1. It's been working fine. That's not the point of this video. But if you want to know those kind of things, if you want to see how I deploy my SD1 topology and infrastructure, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And I'm also live on Facebook. Let's see if we have some people live on Facebook. Yeah, we do. If you are live on Facebook, make sure you share the video and you also like what I do here. And let's go back to YouTube. It's all going well. Banca IP, thank you for being live. MPP, thank you for being live as well. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. And we can keep going. So FortiGate is there. SonicWall is here. Let's get started. And I also have my notes here just to remind me of what I'm supposed to do in this lab. First of all, we're going to create the IPsec tunnel itself in the FortiGate, and we are going to add some firewall rules or firewall policies in the FortiGate still. Now we're going to jump to the SonicWall. The first thing is we're going to create a tunnel. In the process of creating a tunnel, we will also need to create some network objects. Like I'm going to create a network object for my local network and also for my remote or for the remote networks that I'll have to connect to. And then we will do some test connectivity. Again, I'm going to show you some other commands that you can use if you want to debug or troubleshoot this kind of environment. I'll show you some debug commands for VPN on the FortiGate side. On the SonicWall, I don't really know if they have such a thing. I just talked to somebody also after I did my lab in French. SonicWall is lacking a lot of things when it comes to enterprise networks, guys. We have to say that. So that's why if you make a move from that to something like a FortiGate, you're going to notice a big difference because you have full control. You have a ton of debug commands that you can do to see what's wrong with your network, to troubleshoot any kind of problem. But it's good enough. My knowledge is good enough for now to be able to do this. And we're also going to do some ping tests. This is my SonicWall CLI that I have access to. Let's see if I can log in. Admin, and the password should be, let me grab the password, should be this one. All right, we'll be able to ping. Right now, as I said, we have this device, the 192.168.1.4 sitting behind the FortiGate NVA. And as it stands now, we are not able to ping it because the tunnel is not up. So if I do ping, if I can type 192.168.1.4, let's see if we can ping it, but I know we won't because it's not up yet. And one other thing with the SonicWall, it doesn't show you the details. All it says is the device is not responding. So you don't know how many pings you sent. You don't know anything. And that's all. But by the end of this lab, we'll be able to ping this device. So we'll be able to ping from the SonicWall here all the way to this Ubuntu sitting behind the FortiGate through the tunnel that we're going to create. All right, without further ado, let's get started. Should be quick because I did all the work for you. It took me time to figure whatever needs to be set to work, but I'm going to show you here right now. First of all, let's go in the FortiGate, and we need to create a tunnel. By the way, this FortiGate is also used in an SD-WAN deployment. That's why you have the VPN #1 here. And also, this FortiGate is managed by FortiManager. That's why I had to log into it in read and write mode. FortiManager IP is right here. Today I'm going to do it directly on the FortiGate, but it can also be done on the FortiManager. I can show you that next time. All right, so from here, let's go ahead and create a tunnel. I'm going to go here right here at the corner, do create new IPsec tunnel. As you can see, we have many options. Here I need to put the name of my tunnel. I can call it SonicWall VPN or SonicWall site, whatever you want. And I can copy this name so I can use it later in my configuration here. And everything is kind of pre-built for some uses. Like in this case, if you want to use side to side between a FortiGate and a Cisco, for example, you have a template or a wizard that is ready for you here. But in our case, we don't have SonicWall ready here, so we're going to go with custom. So I'm going to select the custom option here, and we'll go next. So this is where we define all the settings that we need to apply to our VPN tunnel in order to reach the other side, or where the other side will have to come and connect to. IP version, we're going to go with version 4. Remote gateway, what type of tunnel do we want to create? First of all, you can see that you have 3 options here. The first one is static IP address. This is good, but in this case, you have to know the static IP on both sides. Let's say if we go back to the topology, if I want to create a static IP, I need to know the static IP of my FortiGate and the static IP of my SonicWall. It works if you know it, like in my case, I have it, but I also need to make sure the IP will never change on both sides. And this is not good for some deployment, like the project I was working on this week, because it was for many sites across the US, and those sites can have different IPs. So the IPs can change, and we don't know those IPs in advance. That's why the static IP is not a good option. The second option there is dial-up user. That's the one we're going to use. And the third option is DDNS, or dynamic DNS. Dynamic DNS is also good because you can have only a single FQDN resolving the IP of your site. The IP behind it can change, but the FQDN will stay the same. That's good. But what I don't like about it, same thing for the IP static or the static IP. For each site, you have to create a new tunnel. If we have 100 sites, we'll have to create 100 definition of VPN tunnels in our FortiGate, which is not okay. But with dial-up user, the different site can connect whatever IP they have on them, or wherever they are in the world, they'll be able to connect to our FortiGate and create a tunnel without advertising or giving us their IP first. So that is the second option we're going to use, which is dial-up user. And on the FortiGate side, we only need to define a single tunnel, and that tunnel will create multiple connections to all these different sites, depending on what they send us as proposals on phase 1 and the phase 2 that's going to be created. All of that will be coming on this lab by the end of it. So we go back here. Oh, did I zoom in? Sorry guys, I was actually zoomed in. You zoomed in, you couldn't see my screen there, but that's fine. I hope you understand. If we go back here, we have to pick, and I'm going to choose dial-up user because, as I explained, it's much easier, it's scalable, and it's just easy to use. For the interface, I'm going to pick the interface port 1 because this is the interface that is facing the outside for my Azure deployment. And if you are on a regular FortiGate, port 1 can literally be WAN 1 or WAN 2 or whatever you want your VPN tunnel to terminate. Local gateway, we don't need that. Mod config, we don't need that. NAT transversal need to be enabled. Dead peer detection on idle, that's fine. We can leave all of this as is right now. And then we can go under advanced and see what we can change there. Add route enable, so the route will be added to our routing table, and that's good. And then we go back to the authentication part. This is where we need to define what mode of authentication we're going to use here. As you can see, you can use signature or PSK or pre-shared key. In my case, I'm going to use pre-shared key. I'm going to give my key here. I just used a very simple key, password 123. This is what we also need to give on the SonicWall so that it's going to match what we have here. So next, I'm going to pick what version of IKE or Internet Exchange or Internet Key Exchange I want to use. Version 1 is good. You can still use it, but there is a better version, which is version 2, less overhead and very quick negotiation. That's what I'm going to use today. And for version 2, what kind of peer ID do I need to accept? Here I need to accept any peer ID because I want any site that has the correct configuration and the correct authentication and encryption to be able to connect. So I will do any peer ID. And we can scroll down here where we have, where we have the different proposals for phase 1. I'm going to remove all of this. I'm going to leave only AES 256 and SHA 256. The other ones can be removed. And this is what I'm going to configure on the SonicWall. And by the way, I just talked to somebody not long ago. Some versions or some models of SonicWalls are not strong enough to be able to support these encryptions here. So if you're doing your tunnel and it doesn't come up, you may need to lower these keys to very simple keys which can be also not good for your production environment. But yeah, depending on the power that you have on your device, this is what I'm picking for now, and it works for me because my VM is a little stronger. Diffie Hellman group, I usually only pick the group 5. That's what I'm going to be using in my SonicWall. And the key lifetime, which is in second, the length of time that the key will be valid for. I am going to use the value that is also used by default in SonicWall, which is 28800. And the local ID is how my device is going to identify on the other side, like on the dial-up at the dial-up user side. For my case, I'm going to call it hub because I'm in hub and spoke topology, as you can see here. So this is going to be, these two are hubs, and all the sites that you see here are spokes in our topology. So I can name this hub 1 and hub 2, or just name them hub for the sake of the configuration on our VPN tunnel. So that's where I'm going to leave hub here, and make sure you're going to match it on the other end as well. I'm going to talk about it because this is what gave me some trouble when I was creating my tunnels. I didn't know that they care about this, and the SonicWall is expecting a certain value delivered as a domain name. So we're going to talk about it. All right, so beyond that, we can go under phase 2 selectors. Here, I just need to give it a name. I usually like to add P2 just to show that this is the phase 2. And we can scroll down for the subnet, either remote or local. I don't have to define anything, so I'm free to advertise anything and receive anything from the remote site. If we go under advanced, I also need to define the encryption and authentication for phase 2. So I'm going to remove all of this and only leave AES 256 and SHA 256. Let me go back here, make sure you can see. All right, this can go, this can go, this can go. We can keep PFS enabled, and I'm going to choose DH group 5. Scrolling down here, we can also change the value of the lifetime, or the key lifetime for phase 2, and put the default value for SonicWall, which is 28800. And that's it for the configuration on the FortiGate side. I can now hit OK, and it's saved. As you can see, we have our tunnel here, and there is nothing connected right now. It's completely down. And the next thing I have to do is go under policy object, firewall policy, to create 2 new firewall policies for the traffic coming and going to the SonicWall site. The first one, I'm going to name it SW2 hub, or SonicWall to hub. Incoming interface, this is going to be coming from SW site, or SonicWall site, the VPN interface that we just created. The outgoing interface is going to be port 2, because this is the internal IP, or the internal interface on our FortiGate. Source and destination, I usually like to keep this, open this to all the private IPs. So I'm going to select the RFC 1918 group. Services, I would say all the services will be accepted. What else? If you scroll down, NAT, we don't need NAT because the route will be advertised on both ends, so we know exactly where we're going. We don't need to NAT or hide behind any IP. And then I usually like to log all my sessions, and that's it. I'm going to hit OK. As you can see, I created a new firewall policy here. This is for the traffic going from the SonicWall site to our hub. And I need to create another policy for the traffic going from the hub to the SonicWall site. So I can just grab this same policy that I have created here, and I'm going to right click on it and do create reverse policy. So when I do this, it's going to create another policy, but it's the opposite of what I had before, or the reverse of what I had before. As you can see, this one goes from port 2 to SonicWall site. I just need to double click on it and then give it a name This is going to be hub to SonicWall. And we can scroll all the way down and make sure that the policy is enabled right here. So now that I have it enabled, I can hit OK. And that's it. So we have the FortiGate side ready. So we just did our configuration on the FortiGate that we have here. And of course, today I'm not gonna talk about failover or anything like that, because you can configure these two FortiGates to be able to create tunnels with the SonicWall, and then you have two tunnels that you can use and failover if one of them goes down or something like that. That's not the case today. I'm just going to show you how to create one tunnel. So we finished everything here. Now we're going back to the SonicWall to configure everything there as well. So the SonicWall management interface is right here. To create the tunnel, we need to go, this is home, for example. So we need to go under policy. Oh no, sorry, under network, yes. Go down where it says IPsec VPN here and select rules and settings. Before getting here, I probably have to talk about network object. That's something, I mean, it's a notion that is used with all the vendors these days, where you create objects to use in any of your rules or settings. If I duplicate this tab, I can show you where we create those objects. If you go under objects up here, you can see that on the side I have zones, addresses. So I'm talking about address objects. And I created these two objects here that you can see. The first one is remote network or remote net. The second one is remote net 2. And if you look inside them, this is just defining the subnets that I have on the other side at the hub, 192.168.1.0/24. This second one also defines some other subnets I have over there under the 10.0.0.0/8 network. So I have these two, but for me to use them in my policy or rule that I'm going to create, I need to group them. That's where you can use address groups. If you go up here, you have address groups. And if I come under address groups and I look for remote, I created a new address group called remote. And inside of remote, I have remote network and remote network 2. So that's very simple. I just want to show you that before we get to the configuration of the tunnel, because I'm going to use this object here. And we also have another object called X0 subnet. X0 subnet. This object, I'm going to use it as well because it's also representing the internal subnet of my SonicWall, the 172.18.1.0/24. So that being said, let's go back to the configuration of our tunnel. Here, this one usually comes by default. You don't have to use this one, but we need to hit add to create a new tunnel. All right, here I can give it a name. Hub tunnel, for example. And then we need the IP address of our FortiGate. I can go here and just copy the IP. All right. If you have a secondary FortiGate, you can put the IP here. But as I said, we're not here for failover. Shared secret. This is password 123 that I defined in the FortiGate. Let me make sure everything is good. I have 3 S's there. So password 123. That's it. And then this is very critical. This is where I kind of had trouble last time because I need to figure out what the SonicWall is expecting and what am I sending. Local IC ID. This one is the identification of your SonicWall site. And in here, we need to use a key identifier. In my case, I'm going to give a certain value that is significant to the FortiGate so that when the network administrator or the security admin is looking at it, it knows what tunnel this is. So let's say this is our office in New York. So I can call it NYC office. So this is going to be sent to the hub, and this is the ID for this site. So when it comes to peer IC ID, I need to provide a domain name of the hub. and we called it hub. If you remember, I showed it to you when I was defining the local ID. And it took me a while to dig into the logs and everything to find out that the SonicWall is expecting a value under domain name, and the hub that we are sending is matching this one. So that's what we do at this step. And that's good enough. We can go next to the network tab. So the network tab, what is our local network? The local network is the X0 subnet that I showed you, because that identifies the internal subnet of this site. And the external networks, we're going to select remote. And if you remember, remote includes both subnets on the hub side, the 192 and the 10.0.0.0/0 or /8. All right, that's all for the network part. Very important. Now we go to the proposals. Here we're going to define phase 1 and phase 2 of this VPN tunnel. So under phase 1, we can, I think you like when I zoom in, right? Because now you can see. All right, so under phase 1, exchange mode, we're going to use IKE version 2. DS group, we did group 5 on the other end, and we can even go there to confirm. We just need to go under VPN, IPsec tunnel, double click on this, and then phase 1 is here. We can see that group 5, phase 2, we can also see that I think it's group 5. Yeah. So let's go back here. Oh, were you seeing what I was showing there? Oh, sorry. I had to go on the full screen. So I was showing you the different configurations we did here. Group 5 and group 5 there as well on phase 2. All right. So if I go back, the lifetime, we already have 28,800 on the FortiGate side, so we're good. And now we can go to phase 2 proposal. For phase 2, we are going to keep ESP. And for encryption, AES 256. For authentication, SHA 256. We're going to enable PFS and select group 5. And the lifetime is 28,800, so we're good there. And finally, we can just go under the last tab, the advanced tab, and see what we can do there. I can enable keep alive, and yeah, that should be good. One thing I usually like to do, and I promise to show you, is to do some debug, because debug is good. For a good engineer, you should be able to debug your configurations and see what's happening behind the scenes and see if you have to fix anything or not. Like in my case, I'm going to show you the command that you can put to debug VPN. First of all, you need to do diagnose debug VPN IKE. No. Diagnose VPN IKE log filter. This one, I'm just defining the IP of the SonicWall so that I'm going to filter based on that IP. So I'm going to copy and put the IP of the SonicWall over here. So I'm not going to have all the noise that doesn't pertain to our tunnel. Here I'm just filtering for messages to or from this IP. And then next I'm going to do diagnose debug app or application IKE -1. And then I'm going to do debug or diagnose debug enable. This is going to enable our debug messages for 30 minutes. So then I can go back to the SonicWall. Let's go back to the SonicWall and hit OK to save all of this. And that should bring up the tunnel. Let's give it a moment. Also, you can also look at the logs from the SonicWall by going under monitor system log down here. We don't have much going on, which actually means our tunnel is probably built at this point. Because if I come here and I refresh this, as you can see, we have these two green dots here. The green dots that we have there. Oh, I have my thing backward. So these green dots only means that we have our tunnels up and we are sending traffic to these two subnets through the tunnel. And now let's go back and verify and make sure everything is working fine. If I go back to the FortiGate, first let's look at my debug. As you can see here, we have a ton of messages, but right now we are just sending keep alives. This is what you see here. we're sending keep alives to the other side. Let me make sure you see this. All right, so now we're sending keep alives and it's still going. But if we scroll up here, we had a lot happening in the meantime. We had proposals coming from the SonicWall. As you can see here, incoming child essay proposal. This is what we received. And then we compare it to what we have. And now we can either accept or deny this, but we accepted because everything was correct. This is the debug that you do for VPN tunnel. And if we go back to this previous screen here and select the IPsec tunnel, you can see that SW site is up and we have one dial-up connection. It says here one dial-up connection. If I click on it, it shows us that we have NYC office or the New York office. And this is the ID that we gave to SonicWall. It's currently up, one phase 1 and two phase 2 selectors, defining the two subnets that we are advertising on the other end. And right now we don't have any traffic yet. It's 0 byte incoming and 0 byte outgoing. I can go back to the SonicWall just to create some traffic. That's why I like to have this GUI up. And let me just connect to it. Password should be this. So here I can now ping 192.168.1.4. And as you can see, it says is alive, which means that we were able to ping the other end. And again, SonicWall doesn't show you much. All they show you is if it's alive or not, if you can ping it or not. And also the RTT or the time it takes for the ping to go back and forth. So we have 16 milliseconds, so that's good, which means that we were able to ping from here. We were able to ping the Ubuntu that is behind the FortiGate. That was the whole goal for this lab, and that was what we accomplished. And if we go back to the FortiGate, we can do some other verifications, like checking the routing tables and everything. Let's go back to the FortiGate. If you go under dashboard, you scroll down here, you can see IPsec monitor. You can actually pull this all the way up here, and then routing monitor, pull it up here. So under IPsec monitor, it's going to show us that we have the tunnel up. As you can see here, 48 byte incoming, 48 byte outgoing. And these are just the pings that we sent. If you had a lot of traffic, like more than pings, you'll have a ton of traffic there. Like if I launch another ping, let me go back there and launch another ping to the same IP. You're going to see that by refreshing this, we have now 96 byte incoming and outgoing. So the tunnel is up. Another thing you can double check is under routing table, go and filter for the SW site. You can see this route here. Let's see. Why does it do this? So this is the route of the SonicWall. This route going through the tunnel is the internal network or the local network of the SonicWall. It's being advertised here, and it's also in a routing table, and it was added statically just by the fact of bringing up the tunnel. I think you are as excited as I am, because when I got to this at some point, it was really good. Now we can send traffic back and forth. We can do whatever we want on it. We can create a BGP neighborship, all kind of things that you can do inside this tunnel. That's all for today, guys. Let me take a look at the chat, see if there's any question or anything like that I need to respond to. J'espère que vous allez bien. We have Wilfred asking if I'm good in French. Yes, je vais très bien. Merci beaucoup. So everything is going well. The lab is over for today. I hope you liked it. If you have any question, don't forget to leave it in a comment. I'll be glad to respond. And again, my name is Guy. If you like KBTrainings, make sure you subscribe, because I bring you a lot of things here. And you can watch me or follow me on social media if you want to keep up under Gibisuku and KBTrainings. And also I bring you some good trainings on my website, en.kbtrainings.com. If you go there, right now we have the CCNA course or the CCNA training going from 0 to engineer to 301 for those of you that want to start a booster career in the tech field by learning everything networking and security with the CCNA. More courses coming there on FortiGate, on anything that I'm literally learning. So stay tuned, and also get to the newsletter so you are informed of what's happening in the industry. Thank you guys, and that's all for today. I will see you in the next one. Take care and bye.